Hi, thank you for joining me today. My name is Ben, this is Board Game Dad, and today I'm going to be sharing with you the 16 board games that I brought home from Essen, excluding expansions. Now, before I do that, I do want to respond to a video that I posted very recently. I just moved to Japan, and I made a video asking many questions for my subscribers about the direction of this channel. So I received a lot of feedback. Thank you very much for that. And from what I've heard, I've decided not to do paid Kickstarter previews. From my understanding, we already feel like YouTube is inundated with these unbiased reviews of games that are being paid, and we don't want that. We want to hear about what reviewers actually think of games. So I've decided to take that route. I also heard many people say that they are really happy with the games that I cover that are harder to find or lesser known games. So thank you for that feedback. I'm going to double down on that. And in fact, some of the games, or many of the games here, are a little lesser known because you expressed that interest. And then finally, I did decide to take the Patreon route for just getting a little bit more support for running this channel. So to do that, I could really use some help. And here's why. I'm not going to ask you to become a patron today. That's actually not the number one thing that I need. What I need is a little bit of help getting the Discord chat off the ground. So if you would consider, and if you are able, to pay $5 for a membership so that you can join my Patreon and then put a message on Discord. Right now I have no patrons at all. So I've connected it to a chat room where I can have discussion with people who are subscribing to my channel. But right now it's just me all by myself. And if somebody would just appear and say, hi, how are you? And then I could, get a little discussion going. That's all I'm asking. That way I can actually have some activity on there. And then people who are more who do Patreon regularly would come that way and see that there's actually an active community there. I'm just asking for that one contribution to kind of get things started. And if you want to stay, awesome. But I would just like help getting the community and the discussion started. And so many of you have been so supportive through the channel. If you would consider doing that, I would really appreciate it. Now, if you would not consider doing that, or if you just can't do that, that's fine too. You have done so much to really lift me up in building this channel. And that is really the second thing that I need, which you're already doing. Thank you for the comments that you left on my last video. Thank you for watching stuff like this live feed. I want to share my passion for this hobby, and I want to know that my audience is enjoying it along with me. And man, I really appreciate when you tell me that. So today, if you feel like sharing a comment, my one question for you is, which of these games that I'm about to list would you like to hear me cover? Which would you like me to review more in depth? If you'd like to kind of, vote, add a comment, something about really stood out to you, I'm going to try to prioritize based on what you'd like to hear. That's all. So, that being said, let's go through these games. So I did organize them, and I didn't want to organize them like a list, like ranking them or anything. So, because, I'm excited about all of these games. They're all wonderful. In fact, I brought fewer suitcases to Essen to force myself to be selective so that I would only bring the games that I was most excited about. I have great opinions about all of these games already. Most of them I've played. There's a few I haven't played yet or I haven't opened yet, as you're going to see. So I'm not ranking them. Instead, I'm going to organize them by the perfect board game attributes. So the first games are going to be the games that I'm most excited about because of their theme. And then I'm going to go to the games I'm excited about because of their mechanics, etc. So let's get started, right? This is going to be brief. The first one is called Trolls and Princesses. And I got a copy of this game because, quite frankly, it's made by Game Brewer. And they made Oak last year, and I was really excited about Oak. I thought that was a serious gem, a very underrated game, and I wanted to discover more games from Trolls and Princesses, or sorry, from Game Brewer. So I got this one, which is attractive in its theme because in this one you are the trolls and you're just trying to live your life and do your troll thing, and of course that means you have to abduct some princesses, but it kind of makes light of these classic fantasy monsters. But I thought it was a cute theme. It's a worker movement game, and this is one that I haven't tried yet. I've read the rule book, but I think what I'm noticing about Game Brewer is that they have a lot of like cards, and you have to see, like, you have to experience the game. I didn't think Oak was cool until I played it, and then I was like, wow, this game's awesome. Next game is from somebody who's becoming one of my favorite designers. It is Vladimir Sushi, and the game is Evacuation. So, the games that I've reviewed from him so far are Woodcraft and Praga Caputreni, which are great, but they're wonderful because of their mechanics. They're still kind of, they've got this abstract, like, Euro feel to them. Woodcraft is slightly more thematic than Praga, which is just, like, pretty standard tile placement. But this game, I feel like it was designed with a theme in mind. It's about moving from an old planet to a new planet. Earth has to transfer all of its production capacity, and because it's transferring from one planet to the new, the game starts, all of your production's coming from the old planet, and you have to balance your transition of your production in order to be successful, right? You still need the old planet to pay for your endeavor. And I think there's just, throughout this game, there's some excellent thematic elements. I really want to cover this. I hope you agree with me. Soon, because I really like the idea of that game. Those are the two games that I'm excited about for theme. There's some overlap, right? Some of the strategy games I'm also excited about for their theme. Now, we're moving into mechanics games. The next game really surprised me. Even when I learned the rules, I was like, this is going to be lame. But because I was in Essen, and I was sitting with other, like, German people, and I was like, well, I can't walk away now. What am I going to say? Like, oh, sorry, this game is lame, I'm leaving? No, I had to play it because I had to be polite. But then I played it, and I was like, this game is awesome. It's called Beacon Patrol. Beacon Patrol is a cooperative tile placing game where you get to trade. I don't like trading mechanic, but here's the thing. When you're trading to a cooperative end, we had a really fun time with it. So I played this game with grown-ups. I haven't played it with my family. I think there's potential for the mechanics to be amazing. And the game is very, very peaceful. Beacon Patrol. The next game is extremely popular. It's like all over, Board Game Geek and whatnot. But it's actually really good. It's called The White Castle. And The White Castle is a dice worker placement game, which I love. I love dice worker placement games. This one is cool because there is an engine building kind of mechanic to it where your moves just get stronger and stronger, which is a lot of fun. And, thinking of some of the dice worker placement games that I have and the ones that I've enjoyed, I don't think I have one that's like a real good kind of engine builder. I wish I could say more about this game, except it's there's kind of like a lot going on, and I'm not going to talk for too much. So, a cool game, though. The next one, holy moly. I've got good things. This is very promising. All right. I thought it looked dumb. I thought it sounded dumb. And then I played it with my sister-in-law. And my sister-in-law, who does not play games, by the way, she's my brother's wife who lives in Germany. She played games just to spend time with me. She played this game and she's like, I would buy that game. Draft and Write Records. A game about building a band. And it's not a roll and write, it's a draft and write. So you're taking a card and then what's on the card you write onto your pad. Now the problem with roll and write games is that I feel like they're a dime a dozen and they're all essentially doing the same thing. And They get, I don't know, like what makes any roll and right? I keep saying roll and right. This is a draft and right, but what makes anyone like stand out? What makes it special? The thing is, this one connects actions. So you take one thing and it gives you a bonus that does you another thing, and then that gives you a bonus that does something else, and the turns are really fun. So it's a really cool mechanic, and I think it's going to be great. All right. Next one is still in its shrink wrap. I haven't read the rules yet. I was going to read it before this video and I forgot. But it's Machikoro 2. And I got this one because I was working with Pandasaurus Games. And I said, hey, you know, what else can I cover? And they said, have you tried Machikoro 2? And the thing is, with Machikoro 1, there's like 3, maybe 4 strategies that you play every single time. And then it's all just up to the dice. Now, the Harbor expansion made that a little bit more interesting, but there was like a brokenness about the game. So I asked them, and they said, yeah, this game is like less broken. So I was like, all right, well, I'll try it. I don't even know how to play it. But I thought Machikoro 1 was a great family game. So I'm excited to see what they did with the mechanic there. Now, the next category are games with attractive components. 2 games in this category. The first one comes from Finland, so it's going to be kind of hard to get a hold of. It's very new too. It's called Balloon Pop. Now, Balloon Pop is it's like an app-like game. Let me show you some of the components since I'm talking about components anyway. And this one's already open. Look at these. These are your balloons. They're like these like semi-translucent cubes. And you're putting them on these like dual layer mats, right? Here's your little mats, got some layers to it. And the balloons come in rows and then they rise to the top. And what you're trying to do is group them like a match 3 type mobile app. And when you group balloons of the same color or the same symbol, they pop, they explode, and then more balloons slide up. So you're doing all this manually. It's 8 turns. It has a little bit of a betting mechanic to it. I think it was. It's very quick to play, and it's beautiful. It's really beautiful. Even the cover art. Look at how pretty that is. Okay, next one. Oh man, I was excited to get my hands on this. This one is called Sushi Boat. It will be the first game that I'm reviewing from Thematic Games. And how do I do this? If I'm going to talk about components, I feel like I have to show you. I'm not going to show you all the games. All right, so this is the Sushi Boat. Now, if you know about a sushi go-around, let's see if I can get a few of these on here. Okay, so you got your sushi. This is going to be so awkward. Okay, yeah, your sushi on your conveyor belt, and look how it like slides around, all right? So what you're doing, it's essentially, there it goes. It's essentially worker movement mechanic. You're trying to collect different sushi and same colored sushi. What I like about that, now that's very ordinary, right? Set collection, wow, so original. But here's the thing. I live in Japan now. I go to sushi all the time. Do you know what I have to do at the end of my meal? I put all of my plates together, the same color, and they're all priced out that way. And then somebody comes down with a machine and they score me, i.e. they tally my bill, by scanning my plates based on their stacks. Like, this is the first game where set collection actually makes thematic sense. And it's gorgeous. It's so gorgeous. The cards have side dishes. It's very cool. Those are the games that I'm excited about because of their components. We're moving on to strategy next. You know I love my strategy games. I feel like I already know what my favorite one is in this stack. This one is a Kickstarter that I backed because I was so excited as soon as I found out about this game. It's called Arborea. Arborea plays up to 5 players. Man, this is a cool game. It has shared resources, and when you don't use resources on your turn, you get victory points. So it's really cool because you have to watch what other players are doing to figure out what resources are needed in order to get victory points, or to see what other people are going to do so that you can be strategic in the cards that you build. The other element that's really cool, and everyone talks about when they look at this game are the time tracks, like Zulkin the Mayan calendar. You put a worker on a track, and when other people put their worker there, the track advances and the action becomes stronger. Except, oh man, this one is beautiful. I like so much about this game, but to be honest, I do not have time to finish the game, so I haven't played a full game yet, but I love the idea of this game. Strategy, so much to think about, and what's cool, it's a 5-player game where you have to be paying attention to what your opponents do. Much like one of my favorite games ever, by the way, which is Carnegie. Anyway, moving on. The next one is from Serbia. I made a short about this. It's called Heraldica. Now, I'm going to summarize this by comparing it to Santorini, which is also one of my favorite games of all time. What's cool about Santorini and Heraldica is it is a game that plays up to 5 players in this one. 5 players, and it's an abstract strategy game with a little bit of luck. You're drawing tiles, kind of like like Tigris and Euphrates. It's like very strategic, but there's still that element of like you have to draw your tiles. And what you're trying to do is essentially prevent your opponents from matching their tile. Because what's cool, oh man, you know what? I did a 60-second short on this one. It is a really neat abstract game. I really want to try it with my kids and see how it sticks with them because it's super cool. All right. I think I said I had another Vladimir Sushi game. This one is a reprint of a classic. It is Shipyard. Well, is Shipyard really a classic? I don't know. Maybe not. But here's what I like about this. I really think that his games have excellent degree of strategy. But the thing is, the mechanics get a little messy. There's always like some extra rule where I end up going like, why did you add that? Like, I feel like he made the game a little unnecessarily complicated. Even there's a little bit of that in Evacuation even. I like cleanliness where you can tell from the design why everything is there. And you're like, oh wow, every element of this game makes sense. It comes together. It's very cohesive. That is what he accomplished in this early game Shipyard, and probably why it's being reprinted. It is just mechanically elegant. I read the rules. I haven't played it yet. As soon as I read the rules, I was like, this game makes entirely so much sense. I can't wait to play it. It is just clean. Compared to Praga Caput Reni, Praga is kind of messy, honestly. Teaching the rules is not fun. It's a great game. I love it. But it's messy and it doesn't make sense. And people don't go, I get it. This one was like, oh, wow, I get it. So I think the strategy in this is going to be fantastic. And I think I'm going to enjoy teaching this game. That is the strategy stack. Now the next stack is complexity. Now, I didn't do complex games. No, I actually did simple games because I was trying to figure out where do I group my family games. These are the games that aren't complex. They're actually simple. Very short rule set. Here we go. In no particular order. The first is a sequel to Kites. It's Skyrockets. And what it does very well, if you're familiar with Kites, it's a sand timer game where you're flipping sand timers. And what I like about Skyrockets is this one has scenarios, so you can go like on a kind of like a campaign. It's not like a, what do you call it kind of game? Legendary. What is it? Legacy. It's not a legacy game. You're not ripping up pieces, but you go on a campaign, and instead of like a timer runs out and you lose, you actually have 3 chances, which kind of keeps the game going. I think it could be a little bit more engaging, but I haven't tried it. I just feel like this is just an improvement on the rules for Kites. So that will be fun to play. This one came from Korea Board Games. If you watched my Coffee Rush video, it's the same company that makes that one, but it's a smaller game. It's called Nirvana, and it's a roll and write that was different. I'll tell you what, I got this one because I thought it would be educational, because this one has you trying to do sums with the dice. So you're doing sums to make cards, And then you use the cards to try to go out by outbidding each other. It sounds really confusing, and it's a little weird. Like, I was like, oh, this game kind of sounds dumb. And then I played it, and I was like, that was kind of super cool. And I think what's neat is I'm better at math than my kids, but there's an element in this game that would make it so that even if you have bad luck, you can still win, but like everyone can have an objective. I've never really played a roll and write like this. It's very hard to explain. And I need to try it with my kids to see how it goes, and with my wife, but I played it 3 times. I really enjoyed it. I didn't play any other game 3 times. Nirvana. Okay, the next one came from also Floodgate Games. Now, I'll tell you what I really wanted was Sagrada Artisans, and the delivery didn't come in, so they didn't have Sagrada Artisans. So I picked up another one instead, which I judged by the cover, and it does not look cool. This game does not look cool. It's called Decorum. Here's the idea of Decorum. You and your fellow players, this is a cooperative game, you have a house, and you all have secret objectives about what you want the house to be like. So you could say, like, I don't want a lamp in the kitchen, or I don't want anything green on the second floor. You've got all of these different objectives. And so they're secret, of course. And what you're doing is each turn, you're placing a piece of furniture in the house, and then you can kind of say how you feel about it. Like, oh, I really love that. Or, no, I don't care about it. Or you can say, like, I hate that. Don't do that. And so people you're trying to make everybody happy. You can't say what your objective is, but by placing furniture, you're supposed to deduce. And it's a little silly, and it seems like a pretty fun game. I'm a little sad that it only plays up to 4 players. I wish it was more of a party game. And it starts with 2 players, but I think this is one to explore. We'll see. It reminded me of setting up the furniture in my house here in Japan more than anything. Okay. The next one is like the main event from Pandasaurus Games. Well, aside from Beacon Patrol, that was a huge surprise. I went to Pandasaurus wanting to look at this game. It's called Emerge. I've played the game. I haven't played this game, this copy. It's still in its shrink wrap. But Emerge is another kind of like dice action management, much like Machi Koro is. And what you're trying to do is use your dice to build islands that have creatures, animals, birds on them. And you're getting points for the height of the island multiplied by the number of animals on the island. But it's really just a dice game. And what I liked about it is that it's built on an ecosystem. So, you've got like a food chain, you've got a lot of environmental elements in this game, and I'm always very excited when I find something that has like a good lesson to it. So that's why I grabbed Emerge. And then the last one, simple game. This one is also from Korea Board Games. It's called City Chase. It's written in Korean up here, but City Chase. And City Chase is very similar to the game Mind Management. It's a hidden movement game, but all of the special rules are stripped down. It's like super basic hidden movement game that kids can understand. And I grabbed this one because I thought Mind Management was so awesome. And it's a little intimidating. Like, it's a great game, it scales well, but it's a little intimidating to learn. This one, my youngest daughter is 7 now, but I could have played this with her when she was 5. It is so simple and cool, and I like elegant games. I'm trying to find more games for families. It says it plays up to 4. I think it plays best for 2. That's City Chase, and those are the 16 games that I brought. So, I'm going to ask again 2 things. 1, if you're willing and able, take a look at the link in the description. Look at my Patreon page. I feel awkward asking for that, but I'm asking because I could really use the help. Number 2, I want to know which of these games you're most excited about, so I can cover those games more in depth first. Thank you again for watching, and thank you for all of your support. Sincerely.